Welcome back to the Vital Point Kitchen, everybody. Today we are cooking up some picadillo, and that's the way you have to say that word, picadillo, because the word just sort of lends itself to that. If you want to up your cooking game with a simple, delicious, flavorful recipe for any sort of ground meat product, this video is for you. This recipe can be used for an entree or even an appetizer to really blow away your guest. It's something unique. Perhaps you're a hunter with a freezer full of ground venison that you have to do something with. You're tired of burgers. How many burgers could you have, right? Then picadillo is your answer. We found this recipe when we were on our honeymoon many moons ago in St. Lucia in the Caribbean, and we were absolutely hooked. I fell in love with this recipe. It has become a staple in our house ever since. Super easy to make. All you need is some ground meat, and I have made it with ground turkey, ground chicken, ground anything. But since I'm a hunter, I have lots of ground venison, and you guys probably do too who are hunters out there. Ground venison is the most popular meat product we get when we go to the butcher's. I actually grind all my own meat, and it all starts with some chopped meat, so let's grind some up. I like to use a ratio of approximately 80% ground venison with about 20% ground smoked bacon. That's right, smoked bacon adds a really nice flavor for either burgers or any sort of ground meat dish. Now you could make this with just straight venison, 100%. I've done it. Comes out a little bit drier that way. You know, the fat of the bacon, of course, just adds a nice flavor and a richness to the dish, and you can't really go too wrong with bacon. Now, whenever I get a slab of bacon from my local supermarket, I will cut off the fatty ends. Usually, most of the fat of the bacon is on either end. So I trim them off, throw it in the freezer, and that way it's ready to go whenever I want to grind up some meat. I grind all my own meat, and the bacon and venison are going together in the grinder. Whew. Most of it's going in the grinder. I've got my ground venison double ground here, ready to go. Now, the main premise of picadillo is that it's a balance of ground meat with chopped vegetables, sweetened by raisins, and then some saltiness is added with some olives, capers, a little bit of heat with some chipotle pepper, and then cumin is a very dominant spice in the dish. I add some additional things like some more garlic, coriander, celery seed. You could really play with the flavors, but the cumin, the raisins, olives, vegetables are the main items. In addition to chopped peppers, onions, I have some chopped carrots just because I had a bunch. You could use celery, you could use really whatever you have. You could just stick with the onions and peppers if you wanted. I also put in some chopped jalapeno peppers and also some chopped garlic as well as fresh ginger. We're going to start by sweating all the vegetables, getting them a bit caramelized, and then we're going to incorporate the ground meat, get that browned, and then we're going to add in all the other items, the spices as well as the raisins and the olives. I will put the full recipe with all the measurements and everything down in the description below. Hit the pan with a couple tablespoons of olive oil, and then we'll add in the vegetables. Beautiful color of these veggies. I'm making a lot now because I'll have this all through the week as lunch. The veggies have been cooking for about a half an hour or so now. They've sweat down, they're starting to get a bit caramelized on the bottom. Keep mixing them. Meanwhile, I'm going to start browning the meat in a cast iron pan here. Once the meat is browned, we will combine it all together and add in the seasoning. I incorporated the meat into the vegetables, and now is when we really start building flavor. I'm going to add in a bunch of olives. go. I'm going to add in the capers and the raisins. Now my wife likes a lot of raisins, so I'm going to go heavy on the raisins. Now for a little heat and smokiness, I'm going to add in chipotle peppers and adobo seasoning. These are essentially smoked peppers with like a tomato type of sauce with it. Nice and smoky, a little bit of heat, adds a really nice flavor to a lot of dishes. And actually this picadillo would make an amazing stuffing for an empanada. We'll add in our spices, a bunch of healthy dose of cumin, a few tablespoons of that. I have a little bit of coriander here. These are just extras. I have them. I know coriander goes well with this. Some celery seed. Again, you could just use whatever it is that you have in your home. And I'll add a little bit more granulated garlic because I like my things garlicky. Now this is looking absolutely amazing, but I want it a little bit more moist. You want it moist enough so that you could scoop some up with a tortilla chip without it all falling apart. So I'm going to add in a little bit of crushed tomato here. Now mind you, you are not making tomato sauce to put on spaghetti. So don't really do it too heavy with the tomatoes. You just want enough to make it, add a bit of moisture and get this all to start sticking together. And then just let this simmer for, I would let it simmer for a good hour. Let those raisins plump up. Let the tomatoes and the spices all soak into everything. And this is going to be amazing. Looking good. Here's our finished dish. I like to top it off with a handful of fresh cilantro on there. Now, this is such a versatile dish. This would make an amazing entree just by itself like this. Or if you wanted to have some nice elegant appetizers, put some nachos around here, nacho chips. You could put this in a taco, it would make an amazing taco, or an empanada and fry that up. There's so many things you could do with this. Ground venison is such a wonderful product, and too many people get caught into the trap of just making burgers and burgers and burgers. Now, nothing wrong with a good burger. I love burgers too, but come on, let's experiment a little bit and have some fun out there. So today we have Heather here with us. She is our official taste tester. Heather, give it a whirl and let us know what you think.
That's amazing. Good job, Dad.
All right. There you have it, folks. Clean out those freezers and make some picadillo. You won't regret it. Enjoy. This has been your host, Andrew Penzi, in the kitchen of Vital Point. And remember, guys, always aim for that Vital Point. Catch you next time.